Well, hello, good day, everyone. Welcome to my weekly stream for the Uno platform, live coding. I've been working on this for the past 3 months now, I think. It's been quite fun. So lots of things around getting the Uno platform running and troubleshooting issues and others. And taking a look at the Uno SkiaSharp Fiddle application that I've been working on for the past few streams and to get that running. Today we're going to talk about a few things. So getting this application a bit more interesting, like adding some additional combo boxes and others to be able to select all this, and maybe, I don't know, replace this with Monaco, for instance, to have a better IntelliSense, or at least a better code edition, something like that. So we'll probably do something like that. And the other part would be to take a look at the .NET 6. So .NET 6 is rolling lately. Lots of updates that have been made by the .NET team, whether it's on the iOS and Android side. And I've been trying to add the .NET 6 support for the Uno platform, and there are a few issues that have come up, and one that I opened on the Xamarin Android repository, and it was related to a very strange error message, and we're going to try to troubleshoot that one. So it's about building Uno in a specific setting, and using .NET 6 to build. So you have to have preview stuff installed and things like that, but it takes a while. So we're going to switch back and forth between the SkiaSharp Fiddle application and take a look at the build for .NET 6. So what we're going to do right now is start the .NET 6 build. So what I do have is I have a branch that that has a support for this, and basically it's not a big change, but the idea is that when we open the solution in a specific mode, so I'm going to be changing one of the specific settings for this. And we're going to take a look at Android specifically today. So I'm going to be changing the global JSON to set it to the preview 2. I still haven't found a way to multi-target that. So that's why there are two global JSON files. Building Xamarin Forms, not Xamarin Forms, but building Xamarin Android and Xamarin iOS, so not .NET 6, but the previous versions, using .NET 6 install is not working really well at this point. So that's what I'm trying to adjust. So for now, I have two global JSON file, and there's one that's setting preview to manually at this point. So to enable this, I need to use that file and set a cross-targeting override file. And in that file, I need to change the cross-targeting here to be .NET 6 6.0-Android. Has to be really specifically that one and not .NET 6, because there's a few string comparison that are done for now in the current branch. So if I open the solution with this, we're going to see that there's actually less projects for now than in a normal solution filter. But in the sample app, there's a one single app that's called samples.net 6 mobile, and that one has support, well, at least should be having support for .NET 6 Android, .NET 6 iOS, and eventually going to have also .NET 6 Catalyst, Mac Catalyst. But it's not there yet because I'm not there yet completely, but it'll give some good ideas of the types of supports that are going to be there. So the reason it's built that way is that for now we have to have multiple files there, with main activity.android, main.ios, and main.android, because they're not the same. So we have to have a globbing that automatically includes the proper files and the proper targets. The support in Visual Studio is not enabled in my instance. So for now, when you do set a startup, it doesn't do anything. It thinks it's a normal .NET application, but Visual Studio does not recognize it. There's a way to enable it. I'm not going to do it here for now, because that's not what I want to try to troubleshoot. And it's a feature flag that's available in the in the .NET 6 samples app demonstration. So I can actually show that. So if we go to this URL, so .NET/net6 mobile samples, you have all sorts of updates that have been made, and I see that there's been progress in the Mac Catalyst feature as well. But there's a set of things to install. So you get the .NET 6 SDK that needs to be installed, and then Android workloads, iOS workloads, and Mac Catalyst workload. So that one only works on Mac OS. It's probably one of the things that we're gonna have to do and troubleshoot at a later point to get that running for Mac Catalyst. But we're gonna get for the easiest road for now, which is iOS and Android, which are supported on Windows. And there's a few things to enable there in the IDE. So if you want to enable the fact that you can build something for .NET 6 and Android and Mac OS, Android and iOS, you have to enable something that's called a Sentinel that enables that feature inside of Visual Studio. It works on the command line, but it doesn't work inside of Visual Studio. So that's why you have to enable that kind of things. But I'm not going to do that for now. It's just for information if you want to try that out for yourself. So now let's go to so that is open. So now we're going to build that on the command line, because that's where the issue lies. So let's go for that folder, and we're going to build this using .NET build. We're going to do /r, but it's implicit, and so that's not. We're going to use the binary loggers so that we can troubleshoot the build. And we're going to override the target framework to make sure that it's the one that is supposed to be built. I'm not sure exactly. We're going to try a new feature. So they added something to build specifically for a target. And if I remember correctly, it's the -f. So let's try with -f. I haven't tried it yet, so I don't know if it's what I'm expecting it to do. So let's see, net 6.0 -Android. And I don't recall if there was something else needed. We're going to see if that helps. Okay, let's see with this. Okay. Oh, so I don't have .NET 6 installed on that machine. So let's do that. Let's do that right now. Okay, so it's going to be the Windows SDK for the preview 2. So I tried another machine, so that's why it's not there. So .NET SDK to install. Let's do this. And there's a few others like the Android workload and the iOS workload. So we're going to get those two downloaded as well. .NET host, there's probably something running there. Probably because of Visual Studio that's open. So let's close Visual Studio. I don't want to have to reboot on you guys. Okay. It helps to have a fast SSD. You know, it's a M2 SSD, so that's pretty darn fast. Okay, there's that one. So so that's interesting because the now in Visual Studio, and that's, well, not Visual, in .NET, they changed the way additional workloads are enabled. And if you take a look at how .NET is installed, let's say .NET 5, for instance, if you install .NET 5 on a Linux machine, you get WPF installed. I mean, you know, it should not be there. You know, it's not supposed to be something that you need to install. You know, it looks like, did it install? Yeah, it's probably installing really quickly. Yeah, it probably just installed already. Let's see. And so the problem was that if you install Linux, then you get all sorts of things that should not be there and that you can't remove. So that means that the base SDK is bigger than it may be, especially if you're trying to get on Linux, for instance, or others. And it kind of blew up in a way that, you know, adding support for Android and Mac OS or iOS is you can't bundle that with .NET. I mean, it would be too big. So the idea is that you can install additional SDKs without and trim down the original SDK and put those workloads outside. I don't know if they're going to do that for the existing SDKs or workloads. So for instance, are they going to remove WPF from .NET 6? I don't recall that, but maybe. That's gonna be of interest. So let's see. Does it build? Yes. Okay. So it starts up. Okay. So we can start again at that one. Okay. So there were a few errors. Let's see those errors. Target platform identifier Android was not recognized. Okay, so the installer for some reason didn't work. So let's see if we need to do something else. I'm gonna go to the download folder. It's iOS twice, so I downloaded that one twice. It's probably not the right one. So I downloaded iOS twice. Okay, so that's probably the reason. Okay, so let's install iOS. Android, okay, it's there. Android, there it is. Well, that one's having a more interesting UI. I don't think the other one installed anything, but anyways, we'll see. Okay, so let's try again. And this time, should the restore do something interesting? Yes, it does. Okay, so that means that at this point, the workload has been installed and the build is going to start. So that's pretty much it. Now, I'm not going to go into details about how those things are built already. Just top level is the fact that every single project inside has to be cross-targeted to be a different file. And the reason for that is that the way Visual Studio and MS Build and .NET Build are behaving with each other can cause some trouble. And to simplify the build, and especially on CI, it's easier to have a filter set that's on a specific project that's called Net6. It simplifies the relationship between projects. So eventually those are going to disappear. They're going to be just simple projects that are going to be just uno.foundation.csproj and not going to be with a .NET 6 added to it. But for now, that's how it is. So it may change until we get .NET 6 installed. Okay, so now let's go back to our SkiaSharp Fiddle and see what's happening there. So we're going to be adding some a small thing here. So our main page was about having just something at the top, and we get a compile button and nothing else added to it. So we're going to just drop we're just going to drop next to it a combo box. And in that one, we're gonna get something like, let's name it for now. Do we need to name it? So we're gonna make a folder here that is going to be providing sources that we're gonna inject at build time, at build time and populate all this at the end. So we got column definition, row definition. So we're probably going to be have to do something like that as well. So stack panel as well. And we're going to put the combo box here. Looks like I need some editor config file because it's not looking good. Okay, so it's an horizontal one. Let's add a bit of a it's called, there's a new property, it's spacing. Let's put some spacing in between. So that's a nice property. It puts space between elements of the panel. If you don't know about that one, if you've been using the UWP for a while, that may have slipped through your property discovery. And we're gonna data bind that to something else very quickly. So probably we're going to end up adjusting that to either use Prism or the new MVVM library underneath. But for now, that's just going to do. There's that. So what we're doing here is we're going to add a new folder, and in that folder we're going to put some samples. Oh, okay, so it failed here. Fluent theme, debug shadow. Path was not found. Okay, so it did that because of something else. Okay, so that built properly, but that didn't. Source generator, shadow task. It's probably something that's supposed to be built, but it's not built as part of the current solution for some reason. Okay, so let's open that solution again. So it means when it's that, it's probably because the solution should be having access to that project, but it's not a dependency, an explicit dependency. So the application doesn't build properly. So we're going to add that as a dependency. And to add that as a dependency, we need to use something that enables that. So let's see. Do I have that here? Maybe not. No, task is not here. Let's see. Maybe it's in this one. I'm looking for a dependency. It's uno.ui.tasks. Okay, it's not there, so we're going to try to find it out in the complete solution because I don't remember. So we're trying to find out if there's a dependency for uno.ui.tasks. So that's a set of it's a set of dependencies that should be there. Okay, so it may be source generator.local.props, and it's probably not imported automatically. Okay, so let's see if that one should be imported there. So we're looking for source generator.local. We're opening Net6 one. And it probably should be there. Okay, there it is. So we have an import here that imports that file, that imports the uno.ui.tasks, .target the targets here, so that imports the proper file. So it's probably not in that file. We need to add it. No, it's there. Okay, so if it's there, that means that there's something else that's not working. So for now, I'm just going to build that project manually, because for some reason it's not built properly, because it's not what I'm looking for at this point. So it's in generators, and it's that one. So I'm just gonna build that task manually. There it is, it's built, so let's do it again. Okay, so back to the Fiddle. So we're gonna call it Skia samples, for instance. And in that one, we're gonna add simple files like this one. We're going to add C# files, and we're going to call sample one. That's an easy one. Sample one, and we're going to put the content that was originally in the main page, so the default sample that we had here. We're going to take that one and put it inside the sample here. We're just going to replace everything else. Okay, so we may not want to name that program directly, so I don't know how we were looking for programs, because if we have multiple files here, the point is to be building those samples every time, but not executing them. So to build them as part of the process here. So we're gonna do that way. So we're searching for exported types for something that's named program. Okay, so we can just have a namespace at the top. Namespace. And we're going to call it sample one. And this time, instead of using files as we did last time, which is last time we loaded files through getFile from application URI async. I mean, we can do that. The problem is that we can't list files, so we have to do the same thing as create a file list that way, and bundling C# files as part of the main binary or the main assembly is not a big problem. So we're just gonna do that. So those files are going to be we're going to add those files as embedded resources as well, so we can populate the list. Another problem. Okay, so that problem is identity client for authentication broker. Oh, that's Carl that has been doing some interesting things with OIDC, and that is not working with .NET 6 yet. Okay, so we just need to remove that for now for .NET 6. So let's go open that file. I'm just going to remove that sample for now because it's not a big deal. I think I opened it that way. Okay, and we're just going to be doing something like, we're just going to drop the content for now. It's not a big problem. May need to, so those are async void methods. We probably can't remove them completely. So let's comment that one. That is probably behind a button, so we can't remove it completely. Cal is protesting that it's not his fault. Yeah, well, a little bit. I mean, you broke my stuff. But that's not a problem. You know, that's what it is when leaving on the edge. So, you know, I'm just rebasing very often for that kind of things because I don't want to be too far behind when building the newest stuff. So that's what's happening. Okay, so let's go back to our SkiaSharp Fiddle. So now we have our file here, and it's going to be, so the sample here, and that's good. And what we're going to do is just populate the files here. So we're going to populate the content. So populate samples. And this time, instead of so by the way, that feature that is fixed in a later version of Visual Studio 16.9.2. I have not updated yet, so that's why it's breaking up for me. But if you have a 16.9.1, you may want to update to 2. So I'm just going to create that function manually for now. So what we want to do here is enumerate the names of the samples that are provided in that folder. So what we're going to do is just do a type of this main page and go to the assembly, and yeah, it's still breaking for the rest, so I'm just going to go there. So what you want to use is get manifest. Oh, that's not assembly. Actually, where am I? Yeah, it's on assembly. I may need to go to that one instead. Manifest. No, it's not there, so probably going to have to do something else. Probably just should update right away. It's just not wait for that thing to happen because it's just breaking everything up. Let me restart Visual Studio. I don't know the methods by heart. Okay, so it broke again. Let's fix that one. So probably missed something at the top. What did I miss? Ah, identity model at the top. Here, there you go. Let's build it again. Actually, is it a big one? I don't recall if it's a big one or not. Let's see. Should be small. I mean, it's a 0.1 to 0.2. Well, not that small. 2 gigs. Okay. So no, not for now. I'm just gonna live with it for now. Okay, so populate sample, and then we had the get manifest resource stream, and then we need to so we get manifest resource names first. Then we need to do a where, and then the name. So let's call it n contains, and we're going to be looking for the Skia samples with an underscore because the resources packager removes dots and puts them as there. So names. That's called let's use all instead. No, not all. It's not all. It's the no. Let's go select. Not select. Sorry. And actually, it's not that one. We're probably going to get another one. And then we're going to do a for each on this one. Names, and then we're going to populate our list for that one. So it's a simple list, so we're not going to update it anyways for now. New, and then we're going to add those files. So we're going to use the name of the file just to get that running, and yeah, name of the file is probably going to be enough. So there's that. So let's see do we have something else there? Oh, okay. So we're there. Okay. So the issue is here. The issue is that there's a weird error that comes up because of the manifest, the Android manifest here. So we can see attribute application component factory is not the right one. And John from the .NET team here, I think it's Jonathan Peppers, that told that the project has a mixing of Android support and Android X, which is not supposed to happen. The thing is, I don't know what is causing this to bubble up. So we're going to try to find out which project is still having a reference to the previous Android support libraries where it shouldn't. So for this, we're going to open the MS-Build log viewer, MS-Build.bin log, and we're going to go take a look at those. So what we're trying to find out is there a reference to, let's say, that one, for instance? Where does that one come from? And it's actually Mono Android 9, which is not supposed to happen. So that's an interesting thing. The compatibility between .NET 6 and let's say .NET 6 Android and Mono Android something. I mean, it's there. They have a library that they're building, an SDK that they're building that will allow to build both Mono Android and .NET 6 Android. But I wouldn't count on it too much for now, at least. So it's probably going to evolve so that it becomes usable. For now, it is not too much for us, for Uno at least. And it's not called by MS-Build Extras. It looks like it would be, but it's not. It's actually, I had to remove it completely. So MS-Build Extras was used in other targets, especially where we are using. If you're looking at, let's say, uno.ui here, so that's the project that's used to build Mac, Android 11, iOS 10, and others. And to be able to do this, we need to use MS-Build Extras. But this is not supported anymore when running on .NET 6. So to be able to do that kind of mixing for having this and .NET 6 in the same project, they have a custom SDK for this. If I probably can find it there. Let's see. It's called Legacy something. Let's try to find Legacy. There it is. Xamarin.legacy.sdk. So that one is it allows to do something like this. So you create a project with an SDK inside, and then inside you get to say Target Frameworks, Mono Android 11, then Xamarin Android 10, and then Net 6 Android and Net 6 iOS. So that's the kind of mixing that you can do. And the problem is that I tried this, but if you put Net Standard 2 in the middle, it won't work. So there's a few things to adjust there. And for that reason, that's one of the reasons why there's a separate CS project there, so that we don't have to deal with that for now. Okay, so what I want to find out is, where is the vector drawable coming from? But it's probably pulling many other things from from dependencies. So I want to determine where that comes from so we can remove it. Okay, so resolve package assets, it's available here. So it's definitely referenced, but that's probably not the root. So there's probably another project that references it. Okay, so not that one, not that one. That's a lot of projects. Okay, so net 6. Oh, look at that. There are 2 that reference the previous one. So there's probably something that I changed there that shouldn't have been there. Okay, so Android skip classes. Okay, so that's not the right one, because those are not package references. Those are not package references as well. Not either. Okay, so that would be Lottie. Okay, so Lottie is pulling he's pulling Android support animation vectors. So let's see. Let's see what we do have in that file. Lottie is at the top, if I remember correctly, in add-ins. So what do we have here? Okay, so that's the reason. So that means that to support .NET 6 properly, you have to have the whole chain that is using .NET 6. So that means that that project has to be migrated over to .NET 6 as well. That's going to be an interesting thing to look at. So what we're going to do for now is just we're going to drop this and try to see if we can build something up without all this. So if we remove Lottie here, and if we take out a few things that are there, let's see. There's lots of things there. I think I did a version of iOS, macOS that doesn't use it. Yeah, I think I made a version of it without it. Okay, so see, so for iOS, I already did a stub for that. Okay, so it's Lottie Visual Source here. Do I have a version of Lottie Visual Source for Android? Maybe not. Okay, so that means that it would be, actually probably, that would be that one. Okay, let's take it out and see what happens. I don't know what that would do, so we'll remove it and see where the compiler complains. Probably going to complain for something, so let's see what that means. Okay. There we go. Okay, so that's it. Oh. Okay, still building. So we're going to end up to Lottie pretty quickly. There it is. Okay, so that's pretty good. Okay, so we're in Lottie Visual Source base. It does not implement. Okay, so that's nice. Okay, so that means that we should be implementing something, but it's not there. So we're gonna do the same thing. So Lottie is not available here. And what do we have here? Lottie Visual Source base. Okay, we can probably take that one and add it here for now. Just gonna be putting some stubs so that that file builds properly. So the objective here is to be able to determine what we should be doing, and if the sample app that we're running for .NET 6 actually runs inside of the simulator that we have here. Okay, so animated visual source doesn't have load, unload, play, and others. Okay. Should be, okay, so it's there. That's interesting. It should be having those here, so why doesn't have them? Ah, that's why. Okay, so it's because it's tagged as okay, so I could probably just take out Android for now here. That should be good enough. Not wasn't an STD. Okay. Let's try again. Okay. So yeah, it's all about being able to build the sample application that we're running inside of the simulator here. I don't know if I have it here. It's likely not the case, but it should allow for all this to run properly and determine if we can run the full application using .NET 6, .NET 6 Android. So we got to Uno, and it's building .NET 6 mobile app. Okay, so another thing that they're explaining here in the mobile samples here is the what you need to do to run the application. And in this context, when you want to run the applications through the simulator, you have to run the application with .NET Build and a specific target that's called run. So we're gonna do that there if it works. Okay, so it's still not there, but it's different. Okay, so a little bit different. We're still gonna try to find out if we have other things that are there that should not be there. So let's take a look. Maybe we can try to find out Mono Android 9.9.0, maybe. Okay, so we have Android X here, all Android X. It's all Android X as well. Let's see, maybe we can find others in here. So let's see, vector drawable, is it still here? Net 6 assets, vector drawable, doesn't look like it's there because there's no DLL dependence. Okay, so that's good. So we took out that one. So let's see if there's another one that we need to take out. Let's just say support for support animations, maybe. Is that one here? Looks like it is. Okay, so Xamarin support animation, but that one is interesting because it's in the binding helper. And that one should not be using the previous versions of the SDK. So it's using the support library, but not the Android X one. So let's go take a look. So there we have the binding helper here. And we should be having dependencies available somewhere down there. Oh, no, it was at the top actually. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we have dependence here. We have Android legacy support. Doesn't look like we have additional dependencies. We have, oh, we have this one, maybe. Okay, it's all Android X, but it's not supposed to be there. Okay. So if it's there still, support and annotations. Sometimes we can determine where that one comes from. Compile JDK, no. Maybe it's part of the standard support annotations, the normal support annotations. So what we can find out is through the opt folder, there's a project.assets.json that generally tells if a specific project is here. So it's not there. So it's probably coming from another library. So one interesting thing is that when you have files like that, with that's in the library project, you can determine where that is coming from by looking at the content of the project. So it's support annotations, but there's a file name defined somewhere inside, or the original project that defines that. So let's go take a look at that. So we get debug.NET 6, and it was library projects. Why don't I see it? Library projects. Maybe it's removed. That's interesting. So it's not there. So if it's not there, that means that either the file doesn't exist or it was not added in any way. Yeah, the folder does not exist for some reason. Okay. Maybe it's the LP that's here. Maybe it's expanded to something else. Okay. Is there a name somewhere in there? No. Okay, so at the root of the file, there's a map.cache file that tell you where your file's coming from. So we can see here that everything's Android X. There's no Android dot, so it's probably just a something else that doesn't make sense there. Okay, so probably not this. Okay. So we're going to try to find something else then. If we look at the mobile app, maybe we can find something there. If we look at the restored file, the package assets, maybe we find something that's called Android dot. So there's there's Uno's Android binding helper that allows to get access to Java. And do we have something else? Okay, so we have xamarin.android.tools.bytecode. Where's that one coming from? Oh, it's the Android X migration. Okay, so that may not be a problem then. Okay. Okay, so it's still there. The issue is still there, but we're still having that problem. Okay. Android X core app core component factory. Okay, so then I don't know what that means. So probably going to come back to the Android team because I don't know what that means. Looks like there's an additional dependency that causes this to happen, but it's not there. So maybe there's another one that I don't see. There's supposed to be a maps. So maps not there. Nope, I don't know what that means. Okay, so I'll probably ask again, or maybe you can find another one, but I don't see what that is. Because Android dot is not Android dot support is not available there. I mean, there's well, it's a big list, so it's too slow, but doesn't give any clues about why it's doing it that way. Actually, there's one here. There's the Android assets annotations. That's interesting. What's that project? Support annotations. DLL. Okay, so where is that one from? There's an item, but it doesn't say where it's coming from. There's generally a location, but for this one, it doesn't show. It doesn't say. Maybe it's coming from something else that we don't see, but yeah, it's still compat maybe. Let's see. Yeah, it's the same thing. And those files are coming from somewhere else, but I don't know what that is. Okay, so probably gonna circle back with the team and see what that goes. Okay, so that's it for .NET 6 at this point. It should have been doing something interesting, but there's still something that's missing there. Okay, so now let's go back to our SkiaSharp Fiddle. We're gonna make a list. So we're making a list of taking the Skia samples, and we're going to be replacing all this with something else. So we're going to be adding, so it's not a list of string, it's a list of samples. So we're going to have to do something like that. So let's create a class for now. Move that class afterwards. still not using C# 9, so I would have used records, but it's not there yet. So let's do it for the old-fashioned way. And we want to have the sample code. Okay. So now we can do something like this. Reader, new stream reader. And we're going to read this.get manifest resource. That will do. And we're going to use the name instead. And we're going to do reader.read to end. I think it is read to end. No, it's not read to end. It's read to end. Yeah, read to end. It doesn't. There's probably something else that I'm missing visually. Can I use reader before it's declared? I'm probably missing a parenthesis. Okay. And then we're going to do sample, new sample, and the name. We're going to try to figure out how to extract the name here. So the name is built a certain way. It's with dots in it. So we're going to have to do something a bit different. So let's see. We can split by dots. That could work. So it's called parts. And we're going to do name dot split by dots, and we're going to take the previous one. So not just the length -2. It's not the easiest parsing. Probably we should be having something a little bit different, but there it is. And we don't have a constructor here, so let's use it that way. So we get name here and code. Let's take that one out. And we're going to set that sample list to a public property. And we're going to be building it up beforehand. So let's call it, it's a sample array. And it set, and we're going to set that to the end. Okay, that should be enough. And the list is not the right one because I said it's a string, but it's actually not a string. It's a list of samples. And we're going to add that to list.add sample. We could probably do it with a few link statements, but for now it will do. And once we are in the project here, I'm just going to get that through a next bind. Items, no. With the next bind, and we're going to get the samples. Okay, and then we need to use the display property, display member path, and we're going to be using name instead of empty, because if we don't, then the combo box is not going to be having the right content. Well, it's going to be just having the names there. So actually, let's do this so we can see what that means. Okay. So in the previous streams where there were issues with the linker itself, where with the bootstrapper. So when we were building the application, it was taking a long time. And that's something that was not that was not really good. So we actually changed that. So we're gonna take the first sample, first or default, and first the default, it's supposed to be a string, and we're gonna get code for now. So now it builds it a bit faster. And the last part that takes a while is actually the linker. And you remember last time there was some things about the linker. We actually took a look at what happened with the linker. And I opened an issue after the stream last week. And actually there already was an issue. And I think it's Zoltan that created the original issue. Linker performance problem. Okay, so I commented on that one with the findings there, and it turns out that most of the time that the time is spent doing analysis of content that is actually not needed that much. So Michel was saying that the entire method body scanner was not needed, and by removing it, it was still doing the right thing. So the linker was doing the right thing. So it looks like it's something that we may be able to take a look at some point. You just take that one out and see if the linker just does what it's supposed to be doing. But anyways, okay, so it failed for what reason? Argument null. Okay, so I probably set null to the text box because there was nothing to look for. So the reason it failed is that this is actually returning null, and you can't set null to the text here. So let's do this. We're going to call it no embedded samples. No embedded samples, and in there we're going to change this to have all the samples available there. So like last time, there was a globbing that was done here to get all the .NET sources to be as part of content so that they get downloaded. We're going to do the same thing with embedded resources, but instead of using this, we're going to use SkiaShamples. There's no link, it's not needed, and we're going to do it like this. That should be enough. I don't know what happened with that one. It looks like there was some external dependency that was changed. I don't know if it's Node or something like that, but it broke Visual Studio for a lot of people on the community website for reporting issues. So that's pretty interesting. So yeah, we could probably take a look at some point to enhance the performance there, and try to take a few of those out to get it running a bit faster. I mean, it's still pretty long. I mean, we're talking about 30 seconds to get that running. So I don't want to make you wait that much for looking at code build, especially if the code that's taking the time is not doing anything. That's not particularly useful. Okay. There it is. So, oh yeah, there's also this. So I don't know if you've noticed, but there's this error message if you try to start debugging, and that happens because the latest versions of the SDK of the .NET SDK now have the debugger built with .NET 6. So that means that starting the debugger doesn't work. So it's something that we're working on to get everything running. So for now, you just need to run without the debugger. So there are no embedded samples. So still not working, probably missing something there. So let's go take a look at what was integrated there. I think I have ILSpy there. going to go take a look at the inside of the assembly. See if we have the right content. Let's take all those out, it's not needed. And we're going to go to that folder and get the content of the assembly that was built. So that would be one in the dist folder and in the manage folder. So that would be SkiaSharp Fiddle. It's probably somewhere in there. I don't remember how I called it. Yeah, Uno SkiaSharp Fiddle. It's that one. Okay, so let's open that file and let's go see if we have resources. Okay, so we have resources, but they're not the right ones. Okay, so it's clearly not picking up anything. So we can see here that the resources don't show anything up. So that's not correct. So it probably did something wrong there. What's incorrect? Skia samples. Oh, that DLL. That's why. Let's do it again. So next week, we're probably going to be doing something with the Monaco editor. So actually, the Xamarin stuff took a bit of time. So we have a component in Uno that was actually built by the XAML Llama, and that does integration for the Monaco editor on UWP. And we've made a port of that editor so that it runs using the same APIs with regards to C#, but that it binds to WinUI. So to WebAssembly, sorry. So that's the editor that you can find in the playground. The editor that's on the side here, that's Monaco. That's why there's that nice syntax coloring and helpers to get there, and even there's the square selection when you press Shift and Alt. So that's pretty nice. Always interesting that you can do that kind of stuff. So let's see, SkiaSharp Fiddle. There it is. Okay, so it opened up and we have, okay, so we see here that we have SkiaSharp Fiddle main page sample. So we can see here that we need to adjust that so that the display member path is actually one property of the sample class, so that it doesn't show it like that. So let's change that a little bit. And we're gonna have the proper selection there. So it's display member path. It's called name, actually. It's called name, and we're gonna have to do something like selected item. Selected item, we're gonna bind that to another property. And it's gonna be called select sample. And the mode is going to be two-way. So it gets updated properly. Oop. Yeah, I probably need to enable that. So there's a feature in Visual Studio that allows you to align that properly without having to do enter multiple times. It's not enabled in my version here, but I'll probably do that next week. Okay, so there's selected sample, and then we do public sample, selected sample, and we're gonna get a get. Actually use this, so let's do something else. I knew why I wasn't using it. The code snippets are not working there because there they are. Sample, and we're calling it it's called select sample, and I think no. Full property, there it is. So that's our selected sample, and here we want to have we want to change the selected sample. So the source text here is going to be this current sample. So if it's not null, actually we can just do a null coalescing. It's going to do just fine. And we're going to select the code here. And if there's nothing, just as a failsafe. And let's add another sample as well as we're there. So I can find samples in the SkiaSharp repository. SkiaSharp. SkiaSharp GitHub, and we're going to go to the samples and gallery and shared. And we're going to take one like that doesn't need anything. So for instance, I think the sweep gradient is good enough. Yeah, it doesn't have any dependency to the outside. So we're going to use that one. So oh, Visual Studio's frozen. Oh, yeah. I didn't like a copy paste that I did for some reason. Or just doing something else. Okay. No Visual Studio for the end. Oh, there it's restarted. Okay, at least it's sending a memory dump to David Keane. David's part of the Visual Studio team for stability and performance of Visual Studio, and all the crashes like that. If you keep Visual Studio just crashing by itself and sending the logs by itself, he's receiving all that, so that helps. Okay, so I'm just gonna duplicate the sample. I'm gonna call it sweep. I think it was sweep gradient. And we're going to take that one again and change that content here. So we said that it's here, it's not canvas, it's surface the canvas. I think there's anything else there. Okay. So let's try. So with that last run, we should be having a combo box that gives the selection and that provides at least two samples, the sample one and the sweep gradient that's available here. So I see there are people that are looking at this through YouTube. That's nice. That means it's probably people that either don't want to be on Twitch, or probably it's easier for them because of I heard because of time zones. I'm not sure exactly why, but that's pretty interesting. So thanks for following. You can give a follow to the Uno platform for getting notifications for online stuff. Same thing for Twitch. You can give me a follow and you're gonna get notified when I go online. So that should be good. There it is. And let's see, do we have something interesting there? So we have the sample here. We have the sweep gradient. Okay, so it's not updating here. So we have to compile. We have to click compile, but it does work. So we have a way to change. A way to change all this. So that's interesting because the compiler, once it's loaded up in memory, it goes pretty fast. So that's pretty cool. So as always, I'm gonna be pushing this to my repository. So if you want to go and find that one out, you got SkiaSharp Fiddle here. I think it's available somewhere. There it is, SkiaSharp Fiddle. So you can follow up and try it for yourself here in that repository. But that's pretty nice. Okay. So there you have it. So have a great week and see you next week. Cheers.